Ladies and gentlemen, the MVP conversation is starting to heat up as the season enters its second half, so that means it's time for me to do my annual every NFL team's MVP video. I've actually also had some requests of people asking me to do a video predicting how many wins every team will finish with, and I think that's a good idea. So let me know if I should do that or Fortnite for tomorrow. Anyway, a couple of quick plugs as always. Don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks. G Fuel, you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products, and Prize Picks, you'll match up to $100 of your first deposit. Also, don't forget to use code Wyatt10 to save yourself a discount on any Waggle merchandise. But that's all I got. Let's get into every NFL team's current MVP. Alright guys, so here we are at the MVP list, and for those who have been longtime viewers of this channel, you would know that I do this video once a year, every year, right around this time. And if you've seen those older videos, you would also know that this year it looks a little bit different, and I did that to add a little bit of a different perspective for you guys and to make it a little bit more interesting. Instead of just having one category that says MVP, I've chopped it up as to how I'm gonna see the MVP for each team. So at the top, we're gonna have teams whose MVP I think is a quarterback. Under that, we'll have teams whose MVP I think is an offensive weapon. Under that, we'll have teams whose MVP I think is a defensive player. And then bottoming out, we'll have teams whose MVP I think is a coach. And I'm not sure that there's gonna be any of that in here, but I just added it in case. So now that I've explained it, we can start with the Minnesota Vikings. And weirdly, I'm not gonna say Kirk Cousins or Justin Jefferson. I'm not gonna actually even say an offensive player. I'm gonna say Danielle Hunter, the guy who is tied for the lead in the NFL in sacks right now at 13.5. A guy who has actually played every single game. A guy who without a doubt provides the most pressure on the defense that's already outperforming a lot of people's expectations, but let alone is half the reason we're still in it right now. Sorry, I can't say we about two teams. It bothers some people. But Danielle Hunter is my MVP for the Vikings. I think he's been outstanding. Moving on, we got the Chargers. And I mean, it's gotta be Herbert, but we have to acknowledge Keenan Allen. He has been unreal this year. Like 97 receptions, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's really good, but Justin Herbert's obviously that team's MVP. He is the foundation. He's the reason Keenan Allen's doing so good. He's the reason that this team is fighting in every game. He's the reason anybody even watches that godforsaken team. 20 touchdowns, 6 picks, almost 3,000 yards, man. I mean, he's doing good. Oh, and let's not forget Khalil Mack either. Good honorable mention there. He might be about 80 years old, but he also has 13 sacks and like 4 fumbles as well. Realistically, probably could be the MVP, but I'm going with Herbie fully loaded. Now we got the Bengals. I'm actually gonna go with Trey. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson. And don't get me wrong, Jamar has been really good, but Trey has been making an impact every single game, it feels like. He's been unbelievable. 10.5 sacks, 15 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, like, he's been a dog. Now we got the Browns. Well, Myles Garrett, even though he's a little banged up right now, he's definitely their MVP. 13 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 23 quarterback hits. Like, I thought Trey Hendrickson was good. Okay, take a look at the difference there. Now we got Dallas. Dak. If you guys missed my short I uploaded yesterday, Dak is my leading MVP in the NFL right now. No, I'm not trolling, dude. He is unreal. He's thrown for nearly 3,000 yards, completing 70% of his passes, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks, a 107 passer rating. Team is 8-3. They're playing well. I just don't see how he's not in that conversation for everybody. Moving on, we got the Broncos. Russ, another guy who is in my top 5 for candidates right now, completing 68% of his passes, 20 touchdowns, 4 picks, 2,200 yards. You know how many people said he was cooked, he was bad, he was gonna be shit? A lot of people, a lot of them. Now we got the Giants. I'm a big fan of Kayvon. I think he's their MVP right now. You could say Saquon Barkley, definitely. You know, he's been around majority of the year and playing decently well. But I don't think people realize that Kayvon has 11 sacks on the year, 21 tackles, 2 forced fumbles. Like, he's been a pretty disruptive stick of dynamite. Washington, you know I gotta give it to Sam Howell. Leading the league in passing. Yeah, his touchdown to pick ratio might not be pretty. I think he has like 18 touchdowns and 13 picks. But you cannot say this guy does not go out there every single week and just give it his absolute all. Fearless, he don't give a fuck who he's playing. You can throw anybody in front of him. And I don't want to snub Brian Robinson Jr. He's been really good this year too. But like I said, I think Sam is the most important and it's just the most valuable aspect of that team right now. Now we got Miami. Tyreek. If anybody's gonna end the quarterback MVP streak, it's him. 88 receptions, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. How many times we've seen this guy catch a dump off and turn it into like a 50-yard gain? It's ridiculous. He is the most explosive player in the league right now, and without a doubt, I think the MVP of that team. Now we got Green Bay. Yeah. You know, I want to say Rashawn Gary, but I think Jordan Love deserves it, man. He's actually playing like reasonably well. 19 touchdowns, 10 picks, got his completion percentage up to 60, which is a lot better than the 50 he started at. Packers are playing good. I think he has a lot to do with it right now. He's the best player on that team. Maybe not the best, but I think he's doing the most right now. Now we got the Texans, okay? CJ Stroud, the rookie who's second in the league in passing with 3,200 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's the MVP there. Indianapolis. This one's really tough because I kind of actually do want to give it to their coach, but at the same time, I think Zaire Franklin, the guy who has like 78 fucking solo tackles right now, probably also deserves it. We can't forget about Pittman either, who's been consistent, but I'm going to give it to the guy who's leading the team in tackles, and he's also at like 3rd in the league. Jacksonville. I had Trevor Lawrence coming into this season as my NFL total MVP, and now he ain't even the MVP of the team. I'm giving it to fucking Josh Allen. 12 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 22 quarterback hits. He's all over the stat sheet every week. Definitely one of the most valuable players on the team right now. Now we got the Jets. I would say the fan base for putting up with as much garbage as they do, and this was probably not going to sit well with a lot of people. I'm actually not going to give it to a defensive player, not DJ, not Jordan Whitehead, not Sauce, not Quinnen. I'm going to give it to Garrett Wilson, and the reason I'm going to do it is because this guy is just giving shit quarterback after shit quarterback, and somehow still finds a way to make noise in 99% of the games he plays in. He's only had like 700 yards and 3 touchdowns, but look at the other receivers on that team. Nobody's even close. Like, he's miles ahead of everyone else. Now we got Arizona, and this one I might get gawked at for, honestly. But I think right now, looking over their team, Jalen Thompson's probably been about the best, most consistent factor there. 43 tackles, 1 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, 5 passes deflected. That's pretty fucking good, man. Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, and he is in the MVP conversation. He just doesn't throw for a lot. Like, he's only got 13 passing touchdowns, but he's also got 5 rushing touchdowns, and it's just the aspect as to how he plays the game and keeps plays alive and drives his team down the field. Lamar's a smart player, and he's a very good one at that. Now we got the Rams. Kyron Williams. No, it's not Cooper Kupp, and no, it's not Puka Nacua. It would have been Puka, but since Kupp's come back, Puka's been kind of hit or miss because, you know, Stafford doesn't use him as much anymore. However, get this, Kyron Williams in 7 weeks, 599 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns, and 166 receiving yards. That's unbelievable. Now we got Philly. It's Jalen Hurts here. 18 passing touchdowns, 11 rushing touchdowns. I know a lot of them are tush pushes, but we've seen teams use it. We've seen teams fail. The reason they're so good with it is because Jalen's good in the play at the line. The guy's one of the better quarterbacks in the league and all around has to be one of the top MVP candidates in football. Now we got the 49ers. McCaffrey, get out of here with that Purdy bullshit. And it ain't Nick Bosa either. It's the guy with 939 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns, 389 receiving yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. Like, it's not even close. Get out of here. Tampa Bay. To me, it's Mike Evans. This is yet another year of someone different that he is going to throw up 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns with. Not only are you the most consistent player on your team, you're the most valuable player on your team. It don't matter who's throwing you the rock. You're going to find success with Big Mike. Buffalo. Josh Allen by 1.5 miles. 24 passing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns. By far the most productive quarterback in the league when it comes to scoring points. Steelers. I mean, TJ Watt, but he is a clown. Got 13.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Think he's even got a pick on the year. I mean, it's TJ Watt. It's very rare that he's going to have a year where he's healthy majority of the time and he is not the team's most valuable player. Now we got Carolina. Is it Brian Burns right now? Honestly, I think I'd probably give it to Adam Thielen. Besides the last game, he's been the most consistent and I think the best player on that roster, man. 77 catches, 728 yards, 4 touchdowns on a team that's 1 in 10. And now we got the Chiefs, where it's obviously Patrick Mahomes, a guy who's throwing for 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 9 picks with guys who drop half the balls he throws at him. I mean, it's Mahomes in general, but the fact that he's doing as good as he is with that shitty offense, it's really impressive, actually. Now we've got New England. I probably am gonna say like Miles Bryant or Juwan Bentley. I mean, you could say Stevenson, but they never really do anything with their offense. I feel like it's one of their defensive players that's always making noise. And to be honest, I don't give a fuck about anybody on that team. Now we got the Lions. So I'm gonna give it to St. Brown. I mean, he's at like 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 80 receptions. But I do want to give an honorable mention to Goff and Penei Sewell. I don't want to speak too high on an O lineman, but I've heard that Sewell has literally almost been like, you can't get past past him. Like, he's that good. So I want to give him his flowers. Now we got the Saints. Right now, honestly, I hate this option, but I think it's Kamara lately. 455 rushing yards, 355 receiving yards. He might only got 3 touchdowns, but that offense can't ever do shit. He's the only consistent part that week in and week out. He's making noise. He's driving down the field. He's playing his part. Titans, Derrick Henry. 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. The whole team's not doing very good, but he's at least doing something. Big shout out to Jeffrey Simmons, though. He's an arguable contender. Atlanta. Bad as I want to say Bijan Robinson, it's Jesse Bates right now. 6 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions. One of them's a pick 6. The guy has done everything he could to make that team a contender, and honestly, it's kind of working somehow. Seattle. I'm probably gonna say Devin Witherspoon right now. Guy's a DB, and he's got 3 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss, 4 quarterback hits. Not to mention when he's actually covering people, he has an interception, a forced fumble, and 14 fucking pass deflections. Raiders, Max Crosby. Like 11 and a half sacks, 14 quarterback hits, doesn't really get hurt. The guy's explosive. He's always there to just rip someone's head off. And ending, we got Chicago. DJ Moore, 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns with an offense that seems to have a different game plan and quarterback every week. That is extremely impressive. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for every team's MVP. However, I am going to sign off for the day now, so if you guys did like this video and you would like to show support, you already know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. I try my best to post on this channel every single day. But with everything I just said, I'm going to get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and as always, I will see you in the next upload.